Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, thank you. I know just 25 minutes, but thank you for spending your time with me. I have something to share with you, and I hope that it's so much more than a bunch of slides, and I hope it's more than just ink on a page, and I know it will be, because it radically changed my life, and I hope it does the same for you. And I just kind of want to begin by again saying this thing is more like a manifest picture of the future of what we can do with work and life. We are literally kind of stuck in the post-industrial revolution era of working, and it's not working, actually, ironically. So this is the safe harbor. I promise there are no pirates in this slide deck. You'll get that on the way home. So here's the book. This has been an extraordinary experience for me personally. I've been doing this thing for about 25 years, and really most of it I've done completely wrong. I've broken a lot of things, especially relationships, and just done things completely backwards. And the fact I want to kind of point out that though I did write the book on the topic, I am by no means an expert. And I want this thing to be a relationship between you and I want it to be a conversation that continues on so much further than this stage. And I know it will, because it's important. And the fact is that we're not talking about this enough. He brought up earlier, it's right. We look up and we realize we're forsaking bathroom breaks for a line of code. And something's wrong with that. We need to be living this life. I want to rethink. I want to give us an opportunity to rethink what we think about certain things about our culture. And I want to pose some interesting problems to you that I call black holes. And I want to pose some interesting solutions to you that I call dynamos. And then at the very end, and I really hope you read that legal slide because we're gonna do something dangerous together. I really hope we are, and I hope we can all kind of join together in that. Incidentally, if you look at the end of this URI, there is a coupon code. You can use that. First 100 people who use that can get the book for free, EPUB actually. So first off, let's start with some rethinking real quick. Nerd. When you hear that, you instantly probably think of maybe Weird Al. Maybe you think of D&D. I don't know. But I want us all to kind of rethink this picture of what a nerd is. And what a nerd really, really is a person who's passionate, who genuinely wants to share this amazing thing in their life that's unique to them, perhaps. And that's what we are. We want to be a group of people who identify with one another. And that's all. So throughout this talk, even throughout the book, I talk about nerd, and what I mean by that is someone who's genuinely passionate and wants to share that. That's all that is. So I woke up. I was laying in a sumo chair in an office, kind of a cubby kind of thing, no larger than a bathroom stall. My phone was rattling on my face. I'm sure I had drool from the innumerable Red Bulls I consumed. I stand up. I hear clacking, clicking outside the door, and I'm wondering if there's actual people out there and not zombies. And so I open up the door, and I look out, and there's the developers that I so ferociously led into battle the night before to get the software thing out the door. And we've done this 100 times before, just like I'm sure you have as well. And, I looked around the room, and I noticed something interesting. Nobody looked really happy. In fact, everybody looked kind of miserable. But we won. We delivered the thing. So I thought on that for about a minute, and I walked out the door and drove home. And the next thing I know, I wake up, and I'm in a ditch between a truck and a train. And at that moment in time, I declared that I was done. Done with software. If it meant risking my life and other people's lives, I'm done. And so therein lies the conflict, the problem. And beautiful things actually can come out of conflicts because I love software. I love doing it. But I hated the way I was living it. So game theory talks about reinforcement learning in a very interesting way. The more we're told, good job, well done, the more our IDEs or even our test runners go green, the more we are going to be enticed to do that thing. And it's interesting because I find that those bathroom breaks that are so important, or even food, I tend to give up because I'm like, wait, just one last green test. Yes! That's a problem. That is actually, there's actually a chemical thing behind that, serotonin, B.F. Skinner in the 50s, 1950s, actually proved this through his operant conditioning chamber. So let's look at some of the ways that we can treat life. One of the ways, I did this, and it turns out the way I pictured this successful thing, that me being successful nearly killed me. Perhaps you can kind of be a beatnik and just hang out. It might work out for somebody, but probably not. Or you can try to do this balance thing. You can try to be frustrated by trying to turn off the work and life thing like faucets, like not taking calls from home at work and not taking work calls at home, or whatever the case is. You see, everybody has a story, and everybody has this instance, this itch in the back of our heads, like something must be wrong. Something is wrong with this thing we call success. Something, what is it? I know it's back there, I feel it. And it's funny because I think about our cubes and IDEs or wherever we work, and those are our operant conditioning chambers, are they not? Right? I mean, we're hanging out, waiting to push the button, getting the piece of food. And I find that's an amazing way to think about that. Because I know that everybody probably looks at success a little different, whether it's in stacks of money or delivering software, I don't know. But what I do know is that in general, perhaps there's a fourth way. Perhaps there's another way we can do it. And so I'm going to jump into these things. Black holes, of course, things that consume energy, things that destroy, just consume matter. And then we got the dynamo side, the things that actually create the energy and the cool stuff. And so what we're going to do is hop right into these. And these black holes are deceptively beautiful, are they not? I mean, like they're gorgeous, but they trash us and they tear us to pieces. The gravity, the theorized gravity in the middle of one of them could just rip us apart. And I want to investigate that. What are some things that just completely rip us apart in life? One of the first things that come to mind is this idea of an expectation. This thing that's very interestingly amazing, just deceptive force in our lives, because oftentimes we don't even know we have expectations until they let us down. We don't even know we set them. What you're looking at, you're not actually looking at a bad 1970s haircut kind of gone wrong there. That's a result of one of my kids not cleaning the print bed. And so the extruder just kind of pooped out some junk. It was a failed print. And it's very interesting because my kiddos will sit there and 3D model something and they'll be like, okay, I got it, Dad, and it looks great and it's amazing. It's going to print out just like I pictured it. And then you get this. And then they come in and they kind of head down, wow, I must have done something wrong. Well, yeah, you didn't clean the print bed or whatever, but we figure it out and get it fixed, and then we actually print something useful. I remember the first time we printed the thing that you do to calibrate 3D printers, and it's just a little cube, and we were all sitting there mesmerized by the thing extruding on the plate going, whoa, you could print organs, you could print a heart, you could do some amazing, you could print food for people. I mean, why would you do that? But the point is we had so many thoughts. Our expectations were established. Expectations will destroy you if you let them. So we're a really, really, really big family. There's 8 people. We go to Costco. And who in here goes to Costco? Anybody? All right. Awesome. So you'll get the story. So in Costco, there are those individuals who I call sample ninjas. And they're amazing people because they're very, very patient. And they are very patient because I have so many kids. And what I do is when I go into Costco, I let them run free. And so I know what you're thinking. The good parent would be like, hey, kids, come around me. But the scientist in me goes, what will happen when they fill their pie holes with a bunch of junk? And how will they feel? Will they learn anything? And sure enough, on the way out the door, all that food they piled in their pie holes really tasted like regret. You see, we can sit there and sample and sample and sample and sample bits and pieces of software and frameworks and never go deep. And I think we can tend to do that because time is scary, isn't it? It's valuable. And if we're deciding to go deep on something, we may lose out big time. But on the other side of that coin, we may gain a great deal. So has anybody ever gold-plated their software? All right. Yes, I have comrades. In this case, I actually gold-plated the spec. We decided to design a zip line, and it never, 2 years passed, we never got it because I sat there and I tried to design it to ad nauseum. And the kids, tears and crying and nothing, no results. And it's the difference between design versus get init, get commit, and get push. It really is. It really is. Just do it. Let's drop the idea of ideas and actually just start doing projects and do them together. So there's a really great quote, and it says that everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by his ability to climb a tree, he'll live his whole life believing that he's stupid. And I wonder, in that regard, that everyone I'm looking out here, and I'm thinking about this whole scenario of this whole imposter syndrome. Everybody's heard of it. And I'm wondering if we can finally lay this crazy thing down. And I'm wondering if we can lay it down because of the fact that each of us in here are individual contributors, and we're amazing. And we play by interesting rules. We play by the rules that my individuality can contribute something extraordinary, just like you. You have a set of skills that I will never have. You are important to a set of people that I will never know. That is why you are not an imposter. That is why you are an effective member of a team. What kind of genius are you? Are you the fish? I don't think so. I don't think so. So some people call this multitasking. Some people call it multi-threading, unless you're a Ruby developer. I call it failing. And that's just me personally. It may not be for you. Linda Stone actually coined an interesting phrase, continual partial attention. And she cites the culture. As a culture, we just want to sample everything. It's kind of the Costco thing, but more importantly, this dives into this lawnmower man effect, right? Where you just sample a bunch of stuff simultaneously, and you never actually get one thing done. This is really common. I'm sure everybody knows about it. And there's many, many more, by the way, of these black holes, but we'll just hop onto the dynamos in interest of time. And these are things that build. These are things that give us energy. These are things that excite us. These are things that really empower us to share what we know and what we do, right? And as I was looking at things that could build up this energy, I came across 3 very unique things, as I was writing the book even. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Where are the B movies, Nick? Where's the Red Bull and where are the Pringles? Oh, that's kind of implied, right, guys? Come on. Yeah, just kidding. Not really. So these 3 things, mind, health, and environment, really do impact us. And I have some interesting dynamos for you to try out as a result of this research. Who in here has played D&D? Come on, we're all nerds. Don't lie. There you go. That's I was never really good at D&D, but I was good at the statistics part of it. And I find this interesting. I find that when in D&D you can roll for initiative, and that means that you'll either be ready to attack or you'll be flat-footed. And so many times in my life I've caught myself flat-footed, not ready. And the reason I wasn't ready is because I had fear. I wonder what would happen if we chose to use the fear of the unknown as fuel to learn as much as you possibly can. What if we were never, ever, ever caught flat-footed? A kind of humorous aspect of this slide is when I dumped all these dice out on this desk, right? And a lot of them rolled 20. That's like the crit, right? That's like the best roll. I was winning. Like I just won because I rolled that. But it was that mindset, right? Because I didn't know what was going to happen. Here's the deal. A long time ago, cartographers used to draw in areas of maps nobody's explored. And does anybody know what they used to write on there? Yes, here be the dragons. Why would we not go where the dragons are, y'all? Why would we stay where we've always been doing the same thing? Where's the excitement in that? Then no, let's go where the dragons are. Let's use the fear of the unknown to learn as much as we possibly can. I love that. So, what would happen if you walked into a meeting ready to learn something as opposed to ready to teach something? Now, since you're here, I imagine this isn't really a problem for most people, but this idea of the hubris eraser, it was kind of a fun idea, but it's not to shy away from being proud of what you did. It's to shy away from being prideful. You see, pride tends to build these walls, really interesting walls. Harry S. Truman had a quote, and he said, amazing, imagine the amazing things you could do, you could accomplish if you didn't care who got the credit. And there's a bit of irony about this quote, by the way. He didn't actually say it first, yet he got the credit for it. And that only illustrates that good ideas are oftentimes perpetuated, are they not? So if you're wondering if the things you're saying or the things you're doing interest people and get people excited, see if they're perpetuating those things you're saying. Kind of tear down this kind of prideful thing of, yeah, I know most everything. Because every single person, just like in the imposter slide, every single person in here has something awesome to give. You just need to find out what it is. So this happens, and clearly you can see the painful look on my face, but everybody else laughing at me, 5 of my 6 kids. And I get out, and I'm running around on the beach with them, trying to actually run away from them because they want to bury me again. And I realize, oh no, I have sand in my britches. Everybody probably knows what happens next. You get a rash. It gets painful. Well, in software, we do the same thing, don't we? These notifications, these little things that kind of pop up, come and go. Maybe our IDEs aren't set up really well. Our key mappings suck. Anybody been there? Can I get an amen? The deal is that a good developer knows when to shake out the sand. Or rather, knows to shake out sand. We all do. We're like, wow, I need to shake that out. I need to handle that problem. I need to fix this thing. A great developer actually knows when to shake out the sand. She looks at this situation of her IDE or something like that and goes, I should probably handle that like right now. Know that we're going to deal with sand in our developer lives. Know that we're going to deal with sand in our real lives. And know that if you don't deal with it, you're going to get a rash. That should be a law of nature or something. So a few years ago, I decided to try something new. Because a few years ago, I joined up with New Relic, an amazing company, and they measure all the things. That's just what we do. We're data-driven, which is amazing. So I decided to data drive myself and look at who I really was. So I took a week. I took this amazing program called Rescue Time, and I just threw it on my box, and I started working. And the way I decided to work was I literally just got up in the morning at about 5 or 6 a.m., worked a bunch, and then drank some Red Bull, and then played with the kiddos, put them to bed, all that good stuff, and then got up again and started working from like 10 to 4, 10 to 2, whatever. I rinsed and repeated this. This is me 20 years ago, by the way. That was insane. I then took another week and measured myself just as a regular guy. Someone who just wants to get stuff done. And I took that time and I got up in the morning and I did all my work and then I plugged out. Played hard, did projects with the kids, hacked, soldered, did whatever. Got fun things done at home and went to bed. Turns out I'm 25% more productive that way. It was repeatable, so it is science. Like I could measure it and it was repeatable. Who are you? Do you know? Maybe you can measure yourself too. So a year or so ago, I had an opportunity to go to Africa and build a well and a water pipeline, 3,000 feet actually, a water pipeline in a building to help people out. And I had this idea, I'm a developer, I'm a programmer, what do I have to offer? Really nothing. But it turns out I actually did. There's some math involved. But the extraordinary, amazing, wonderful people that we got to work with there didn't use complex machinery. They didn't use complex calculations like I was all, in my mind ready to give, like as in the hubris eraser. No. They used their amazing nature and their amazing cunning to build some wonderful things. We got the job completed. They built bricks. Literally, these are the bricks that we built with the dirt under their feet. And these bricks can withstand extraordinary things. My son came to me. I was shaking my head. And he goes, what's wrong, Dad? Because that's what we do. We talk to each other about just hard problems and even work problems, because we do that, because it's part of our life. And I said, I'm having this problem with the site. And he goes, tell me about it. And this is, by the way, he's 7 years old. I said, well, okay. I'm having a problem with caching. I've got a menu thing. It's not doing this. And everybody knows one of the hardest problems in computer programming or computer science is cache invalidation. And he goes, well, then just take it out. So I did, and it fixed the problem, and it turns out caching wasn't even necessary. So my son effectively solved one of the hardest computer problems known to mankind. No, but I just didn't see that coming. And it's the beauty of simplicity, isn't it? Use that as a power to drive life and work. You see my little girl in the upper left-hand corner and how excited she is, and her eyes sparkle with delight. That was the very first time, 3 years old, she picked up a soldering iron and made what she's wearing right now. My boys in the lower right-hand corner, they hacked the game because they got tired of dying as a squirrel, and they literally went in, found on the Raspberry Pi, found the folder, changed the game, and made it invulnerable. Like, it could not die. I couldn't teach that. I cannot teach that. I can't teach that kind of passion or excitement or interest or curiosity. But what I could teach, and what I did was I shared my own passions, curiosities, and intentions. You see, my little girl, she always comes in and says, I want to make her something, because she knows we have a maker mindset in our household. One day I showed up and I arrived at my house and I was trying to put my bag on my desk and it slid right off. And I backed up and I looked, and there was a broken toy and a stuffed animal and I don't even know where the laptop came from. But there was a laptop and there was stuff everywhere, and it looked like a Radio Shack puked on my desk. And I was like, what is this? We've got a problem. Houston, we've got a problem. What am I supposed to do about this? And then it hit me. Teach my children, teach my friends, teach my wife, teach whoever will listen to be makers. And so it just so happens that just about every kiddo in the household, starting at 3 years old, and it's not because I've got a protocol in place or anything, I'm not that kind of parent, but it's because that's generally when stuff starts breaking, they fix their own toys. They solder them back together. And that's because of a choice. And they gain a great respect for being a little makers. And they love it. They're on fire. Look at her face. Look how excited she is. Look how excited she is. Do you know each one of us has that ability to give somebody else that kind of smile, that kind of sparkle? Incidentally, not everybody in the household is excited about our maker movement, but they are safe. So here we are. We're near the end. And we have a choice to make. And I want to take a glance backwards at history and see if they can help us make, these people can help us make that choice. Ada Lovelace, the mother of three, first programmer, amazing. Why the Lucky Stiff? Changed the way we educate people about programming. Grace Hopper, I wouldn't even have a job without her. First compiler. She's amazing. Amazing. And what about Marcus Passions, creator of Minecraft? Changed the way we view games forever. What did they all have in common? Did they go to Harvard? Were they superhuman? No. No, they didn't. And no, they're not. But they made one choice. They made a choice to forsake mediocrity. The same choice we can make right now. So, quick story. Portland has a crazy biking culture. Who in here lives in San Francisco right now? And who bikes in San Francisco? Okay, I'm going to tell you, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is straight up looking for you because you are superhuman to go up these hills. Straight up. That's I can't even imagine biking in this area. But the culture at New Relic is you bike. And that's exactly what I did. They talked me into it. I hated it. But I looked around. I saw people smiling on their bikes for some reason, in the rain, nonetheless. And so I was like, I will do this. 24-mile round trip. I hated it. Oh, gosh, I hated it so much. Oh, I hated it. But over time, I started looking around. And I started seeing the beautiful scenery, and I started seeing the beautiful people, and people getting excited about just stuff. And I could feel the thump of the pedal beneath my feet. And it felt like some kind of renaissance. And when I realized it, I was becoming passionate about biking. And I started doing something really weird. I started smiling. And I realized I do the same thing when I code. You see, passion doesn't have to have a reason. It's its own reason. Fact. Absolute. So, since passion's overloaded, it's a heavy term, what do you love to do? And are you doing it? And if not, why not? I mean, there's so many things in our life that we can do. So here's the dangerous thing I'm going to ask you to do right now. And you can go home and kind of forget about it, or you can go home and do it. I have this saying, before I hop into this, ripples over wrinkles. When we look over our shoulders, at what we did in our past? Maybe even look into the mirror of our future? Will we see wrinkles? Or are we going to see more ripples? Where we dropped stones in people's lives, taught them, took time with them, shared everything we are, shared our passions, shared our energy with them. Which one will we have? A colleague of mine said it so eloquently. She said, Nick, it sounds like what you're doing is you're trying to open source life. Yes! Can y'all open source life with me? Can we rally together and do this together? Can we open source life together? Because the way we're working in silos and the way we're just putting this little container over everything we do, I'm not sure that works, y'all. But what I do know is that when I share something with people and when I get them really excited about it, it's not because they knew about it or they were excited about it before or they were passionate about it, but it's because my passion leaked everywhere. And you have the same ability to do the same thing for your friends and families. So if you're a grammar nerd and someone ends a sentence in a preposition, cry heresy. If you're a movie nerd, go get hackers and laugh at the ridiculous nature of the IT in that movie. If you're an IT or ops person and your dad starts using the acronym CPU interchangeably with computer, don't cry. Just teach him what the difference is. Open source your life, y'all. And I guarantee what you're going to find is this nerd world order that is just going to change the landscape of your life and others. Thank you.